Everybody say hi to Inky. Aw, don't be shy. Who's a cute little kitty? You are a little kitty. And you two are cute little dogs. Say hi to the Broniacs, Cruiser and Justice. Come on. Ooh. How about you, Justice? Ooh. They love you. Hey there, Broniacs. Welcome back to Bronze Over Brains. I'm your man, Bronson Layton, of course, and guys, as you could see, the pups are very happy to see you guys, and that little kitten that I just introduced you to, she is our newest member of the family. I'll go into her introduction in a future video, but for right now, I think it's time we get to work. What do you say? Let me tell you, looking after these pets is quite a job. I'm sure all you pet lovers out there will agree with me like to an 11, right? And speaking of jobs, Broniacs, today's video is going into that kind of category. And by that, I mean, how do we as individuals find our place in society in terms of work? That's a good question, because for many of us, work, employment, careers, they are tough to find for any normal individual. And for those on the spectrum, it could be twice as overwhelming, because when you are dealing with work, you have to consider meeting people, going outside your comfort zone, and above all, making independence throughout your whole career. And as you should through your whole life. For us autistics, working in a completely different environment than what we're used to, different people, different tasks and whatnot, it's quite a journey to process through. And that goes for me particularly. And I can share you an experience that I went through. Let's see, when I was a teenager, I worked as a stock boy in our town's local grocery store. And I naturally was afraid of how to perform the job because I had no prior experience. Granted, I was 16 and I needed some help adjusting to the workplace. So my boss back then, she was a really nice person. She had granted me with tutorials upon my request because I had no idea how to perform anything, not at first. So whenever I needed help, like understanding how to organize groceries in the stock room, for instance, she would show me where goes where, or what goes where, and she would show me where the cleaning utensils were for mopping the floor, sweeping the floor, cleaning up glass if an emergency happened, that sort of thing. And that's from my experience. I also worked as an administrative assistant in an office during my college years. In that, I just helped my boss over there go through computer stuff. And I also did things around the office that required stapling, filing, organizing, and I even fetched occasional lunches for the staff. However, when it comes to any job, I think you Broniacs would like to be assured to know that there can be no discrimination against autistics who want to do a good job, who have the determination to help others, because autism, like every other disability, it is protected by the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990. And basically what that act does is it helps provide reasonable accommodations for those who have limited physical mental and sometimes emotional limitations or process thinking skills, that sort of thing. And employers will be able to accommodate those employees who have a disability. For instance, if a person was in a wheelchair but they still had a job in the workplace, it would be the employer's duty to provide accessible means for this person in a wheelchair to come to work, like have a ramp installed at a staircase in the front part of the workplace, or any place that has stairs, offices, bathrooms, the kitchen, among other places. For those with ADHD, for example, it would be an accommodation for them to bring some kind of stress reliever with them. If like they had one of those squishy toys that like poke their eyes out or something and it just calms their nerves, I think that would be reasonable for an accommodation with those with ADHD. For autistics though, it's gonna vary from person to person. For instance, in my case, I am a process thinker, right? And I just revealed to you, Broniacs, that when I worked in a couple of places, I needed someone to walk me through some things, help me understand my task and how to perform them, which I think every employee would go through that sort of training if they didn't know what to do. But still, I figured out what to do at my own pace. I didn't goof around, and I helped my respective companies get their work done. That's pretty much what there is to it. And so, Broniacs, to further shed light on this subject, I have with me a new friend here on the channel who has kindly agreed to share her experience as a fellow autistic in the workplace. She is very smart and she has a lot of information that I'm sure a lot of you will be happy to know. She's from Cincinnati and she has a career that will blow your mind, Broniacs. I can't wait for you to hear what she has to say on this topic, so I'm gonna let her take it away and introduce herself.
Hi Bronson, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to have an interview with you today. I want to start by mentioning who I am and a bit of what I do. My name is Hannah Petry, and I am an autistic with ADD, and I help neurodiverse students become confident and empowered through music lessons in voice, piano, music theory, and music composition. My story behind my autism is a little interesting, and in some ways probably like most women that are on the spectrum. When I was younger, I was diagnosed with a language-based learning disability, and I was in special ed classes up until 3rd grade. And then in 4th grade, because my academics were so strong, my teachers had put me in regular classes. And so I was pretty much doing everything neurotypical kids were doing. I did suffer a lot of bullying, a lot of distress. I had thought of suicide and tried to kill myself at 10 years old, and that was a very dark time in my life. I was hospitalized for about a week with depression and bipolar and anxiety. And all throughout my childhood and some of my adult years, my autism was undiagnosed completely. People didn't really understand why I was the way I was. I didn't understand why I was who I was and did what I did. And it wasn't until the spring of 2017, at 24 years old, that I got a diagnosis as being autistic and having ADD. And for me, that changed everything. I knew I was different, but knowing why really helped me put pieces together. It helped me see why I was the way I was, and it helped me to learn that there were a lot of people that were just like me, who were just different, and they went under the radar. They weren't recognized for being autistic, and they were belittled for being different from everybody else. And for me, autism is not something that is a disability. It is a different neurology that allows me to create a unique imprint on the world through doing what I do, through teaching music lessons. It is something I'm really passionate about because as a neurodiverse person myself, and working with several hundred neurodiverse individuals in my lifetime, I see that each neurodiverse person is uniquely wired in a beautiful and special way. And they too have unique ways that they can leave an impact on the world. And that's why I love doing what I do.
Wow, Hannah. Wow, I can totally see how tough it must have been growing up with, this sort of revelation. And I can't imagine how rough it must have been finding out about your diagnosis and all that and what surrounded your childhood. And I completely agree. I also agree that autism is a sort of empowerment for people who think differently rather than a disability. For the record, Broniacs, I used the word disabilities earlier just to convey the Americans with Disabilities Act, just to echo their terms. That's not really what I think autism is. I also think it's a neurological difference. Very wise words, by the way. And I think the Broniacs would like to know, Hannah, how long have you known that you were an autistic?
Like I've recently mentioned, I've known I was autistic since 2017 when I was 24. I had known for a long time that I was different. I was really hyper-focused on a few things like learning music, learning how to play and sing, and I was finding patterns in almost everything I was playing with or watching. I watched so much TV, and I would sing along with all the musical songs and the movies and such. And I really loved math in school. I would focus so much on my schoolwork, and I wasn't really trying super hard all the time to make friends. But when I did, it usually didn't work out. I didn't fit in very well. And I faced a lot of bullying in my school years. But when I did get that diagnosis in 2017, it really helped me see things in a much different light. And these past 4 years that I've been able to have that diagnosis, I've been able to do a lot of research on autism and our strengths and challenges. And I have been able to use that information I have learned not only to improve my own life, but be able to use music lessons to help improve the lives of other neurodiverse people, especially in the autism community.
Hannah, that is really inspiring that even though your diagnosis overwhelmed you, you adapted into, researching about how autistics think and how they process different information and whatnot. I think that's not only inspiring, but it makes me feel a great respect for you because you gave everything your best despite the challenges that come with this kind of news. And that's pretty much what we're all here for, especially on this channel. And getting into the juicy details of our video, why don't you please share with us your experience in the workplace? Like, did you have any assistance? Were you provided any sort of accommodations? And specifics are up to you.
Being an autistic in the workplace has always been very challenging. Even as a teenager, when I had jobs and I didn't have an autism diagnosis, it was really difficult to be able to effectively communicate with other people and receive communication from other people in a way that I could understand it. I'm a very direct person, and a lot of people that know me call me a straight shooter. So pretty much anyone who's never heard of that term, it just means that I really like to be very direct and clear. I like directions to be clear to me. If they're not very clear, I don't always understand them. In the workplace, I would often have bosses or other people that were my supervisors or were in charge of me give really unclear instructions, or there were a lot of unspoken rules that were in the workplace, and if I wasn't aware of those rules, I wasn't aware of how to be able to really put my best foot forward in the workplace. And often the situation for me would be that I would look at the handbook and I would follow everything to a T that I was supposed to do, and then I would somehow get in trouble for things, and I would not understand what happened. I wouldn't understand how or why I got in trouble, and then I did. And there were a few jobs that I was let go from, and there was even one that I had gotten fired from. It was really difficult and frustrating because here I was thinking that I was really doing the right things. I was trying to do everything that I was supposed to do in the handbook. I was coming to work with a really great attitude. I was trying to be gracious and nice to my my coworkers and my bosses and everyone else, especially the customers. And it just seemed like I wasn't getting anywhere. It seemed like I was always in jobs that weren't really fitting me. Later on in my life, I had actually found that I enjoyed the self-employment, particularly self-employment that does not really involve me having a boss over me. And if I do have a boss over me, one that's not very demanding in the things that they are asking from me and constantly supervising me, I really appreciate working independently. I've been able to find that for me, I have a really strong sense of what I believe is right and what I believe is true and what I believe works. And as an independent contractor that primarily teaches music lessons to individuals that are also neurodiverse, it gives me the power and the freedom to choose my flexibility. It gives me the freedom to be able to choose my hours, my rates, and all the other stuff that's in between. I really, really enjoy teaching lessons because I am my own boss. And I also get to turn away any customers, in my case, any potential students that I don't feel may be a good fit for my studio. And again, what that usually means in teaching lessons and stuff is that it doesn't necessarily mean that a student is necessarily good or bad. It just may mean that they don't fit particularly well with that teacher. For me, I really enjoy teaching the neurodiverse community. But what that also means is that I do turn away a lot of neurotypical students. Not because they are good or bad students, but because they're just not really the fit for the studio that I would like to grow and have. And so I get the opportunity to be able to share with them other teachers in the area that would be a great fit for them. And I get to work with students that are a great fit for me. For me, having this independent contracting job of owning my own business and teaching the students I want keeps me passionate and motivated every day to do the work that I love to do. It's really exciting to see.
Hannah, that is innovative thinking right there. Even though that neurotypicals are something you're a bit shaky on and including in your class, you have, however, directed them to other teachers who'd be willing to work with them and not leave the neurotypicals out of the instruction. And that makes me so happy because that is inclusive in a retro kind of sense, if that makes sense at all. And so, Hannah, do you have any advice or suggestions for other people on the spectrum who are wanting to seek employment or pursue their dream careers?
The advice I'd like to give to other autistics on the spectrum that are seeking employment and wanting to create their own path are, well, very simple in theory and it can sometimes be pretty difficult in practice. The first thing that I would recommend is for you to create your own path. If that means doing the thing that you absolutely love doing and really enjoying it, it's worth it. It's totally worth it. If you love trains, get a job that involves trains and make that a career path for you. If you like to do artistic things, again, shoot for it. Make a career out of that thing that you absolutely love, or a few things that you love. One of the reasons that I am a music teacher to neurodiverse people is because A, I am autistic with ADD. B, I am a musician and a music teacher. I enjoy teaching lessons. C, I really enjoy teaching lessons to the neurodiverse community. And D, I am training to be a professional opera singer. That is a dream that I have had for a very long time, and it's something that I am still actively pursuing as well. The other thing that I would mention to anyone who's listening to this that is autistic and wants to have a career and really succeed in it is to just persist. Don't listen to the voices that tell you that you can't do it, or that your dream is too stupid, or it's never going to get off the ground, or you'll never be able to do all the things that you need to do to get it done. Don't listen to those kind of voices. Those voices are the people that bring you down. They may mean well, they may even be your loved ones, but they will not help you reach your goals. Surround yourself with other people who are successful and that want you to succeed. If you only hang around people who are not really encouraging you to chase after your dreams, you're not going to feel very motivated to chase after your dreams. But if you hang out with other people who have taken their own careers and they continue to push towards success, or they are already successful, and they encourage you to do the same for yourself, those are people that are going to propel you to get where you want to go. The other piece of advice that I would like to give is don't be afraid to take risks. Don't be afraid to do things that might be unconventional. Don't be afraid to do things that have never even been done before. As far as I'm concerned, I am the only music teacher that I know of that proudly teaches solely the neurodiverse community in piano, voice, music theory, and music composition. That was something that I was rather intimidated on when I decided to change my teaching avenue to teaching the neurodiverse community. But I also realized if this is something that's not even out there, it's something that needs to be out there. Whatever you have as a passion is something that chances are nobody has exactly like you do, especially if you're autistic. No one else is going to be able to do what you do because you are unique, and what you have is valuable and can impact the world in a positive way. So go out there and do it. Don't ask for permission from anyone else. You don't need anyone else's validation to do what you were meant to do. But in case you still feel really discouraged about that, let me be a voice right now to tell you, you are good enough. You are strong enough. You are powerful enough. You have the tools that you need to succeed. And any other tools that you might need in the future, you will get them if you work hard. And you will get them if you continue to chase after your dream and be persistent. You are good enough. And if you need permission, I give you permission to go and live your life and to chase after the dream that you have deep inside of your heart, and to be able to pursue that into a career path. You can do it. Being autistic is not a disability. Being autistic is a beautiful neurodiversity that allows you to see the world in a very unique way. And that unique existence that you have can impact the world in a positive way. So go do it. You can.
Hannah, Thank you so much for your encouragement and advice. And you are right in every sense of the word. Broniacs, nobody can do what you can do. That's why we're all unique in our own way. Autistic or not, we have our own abilities and we have our own dreams. And we have our own right to pursue our dreams based on what we know that we're good at. Trying to live up to others' expectations, like Hannah said, those who would try to discourage you from pursuing your dreams, it's a little bit toxic, if not completely self-destructive. And that's why I think you all out there who are watching this, I hope this video has provided you some insight into how autism works in the workplace. With that, I am going to close out this video today. I want to give Hannah one more thank you and sincere appreciation for her contribution to this topic. She, like I mentioned earlier, she is very smart. She has a lot of wise words to provide for you guys, and it shows. As Hannah also said, go out there, go right out that door, pursue your dreams. Don't let anybody talk you out of it, and be the best you can be. Remember, you only have one life, so live it to the fullest extent of the way you want to. So Broniacs, until next time, I'm Bronson Layton. This is Bronze Over Brains, and we're always here representing the autism community one vlog at a time. And now and forever, we are here to remind you to stay brawny. See you guys later.
Say bye-bye to the Broniacs, Inky. Oh, poor little thing. Bye, Cruiser and Justice.